one of the things that I've talked a lot about is understanding. And the reason is because it is my contention that the majority of divorces, the majority of relationship breakups happen because folk misunderstand each other. But the thing is, they don't know they're misunderstanding each other. Like, I think some people who've been married for years, they've never really been married to the person that they're supposed to be married to, because they're married to the person in their head, and they never get to know the person in their house because of misunderstandings. And so I want to give you 5 tips on 5 tips on how to understand, 5 tips on how to handle misunderstandings. Is that what this thing say? Hold on. I might do that over. 5 tips to reduce misunderstandings. Okay. So I want to give you 5 tips on how to reduce misunderstandings. Now, the thing about misunderstandings is it's very prevalent. I talk about it a lot. And the reason I talk about it so much is because I believe the majority of conflicts, I believe that the reason most relationships don't make it is ultimately because of a misunderstanding. But the people in the relationship don't realize they're misunderstanding each other. Like, you marry someone and you never divorce your idea. You stayed married to your reality. And the reality of that is, or the result of that is, you guys misunderstand each other all the time. You misunderstand how they think, how they behave, who they are, right? So I'm going to give you 5 tips to help you reduce misunderstandings. And this is mostly applicable to when we're trying to resolve conflict. But when you get these down, it'll help you just in your relationship in general. Okay, then we'll have to pause it and clean our glasses. So we're going to edit it, right? Yeah. We're going to edit it. We're going to edit it, but I need to be able to see clearly. I can see clearly now. The rain is gone. All right, here we go. So here's the first thing to remember to help you reduce misunderstandings better. Number 1, remember that you both have different internal dictionaries. Every human being has an internal dictionary. No 2 internal dictionaries are the same. You and your partner do not see the world the same way. It's not possible. Your internal dictionary is made up of your experiences, your hurts, your joys, your childhood, your parents, your neighborhood, everything that you've been through, good and bad. It helps shape your world and how you understand things. So I call it, your internal dictionary. The problem is both of you have an internal dictionary, and both of your dictionaries have a lot of the same words, right? But the words don't mean the same things. You see this all throughout life. One person say, I want to be comforted. They mean one thing. When another person says, I want to be comforted, they mean something else. Okay. So the first thing you want to realize is we both have different internal dictionaries. So when your partner says whatever they say, it probably doesn't mean what you think it means. Or even if it does, you can't be sure unless you ask, right? So that's the first thing. Realize that you don't see what you think you see. You don't know what you think you know. You have to find out, what do you mean based on like your internal dictionary? Because the only thing I have to go on is your words. And if we're in person, your body language, right? That comes to me when I receive the message and it hits my ears and goes through my filters and goes through my internal dictionary. There's no guarantee. As a matter of fact, it's a high possibility, very high, like in the 90 percentile range, high possibility that I'm not going to understand what you said the way you meant it. In the same way, just so you know, when I talk about the misunderstandings that cause people to break up, those misunderstandings are usually more about behavior. Like you see your partner doing a certain thing and you give it meaning that's different than what it actually means, and you never seek understanding. And so Those are the kind of things that have couples misunderstanding each other for years, right? You thought he came home late at night for this reason, but really it's that reason, and you never knew it. That's just an example. So the first thing, realize that you both have different internal dictionaries. Here's the second tip to reducing misunderstandings. Stay curious. Okay? Stay curious. What do I mean by that? When they bring up a problem, stay curious about understanding. Yeah, okay. When they bring up a problem, stay curious about understanding their problem from their perspective. Okay? Stay curious. When it hits your filters, go into curious mode, not defense mode, not accusation mode, right? Stay curious so that you can understand their perspective. Understand what they're saying from their perspective. When you stay curious, you have no reason to get upset. No matter what they say, you're just trying to understand why they are saying what they're saying. You're not trying to validate if it's right or wrong, if it's true. No, you're just trying to understand what they mean. And then there's curiosity on the other side too. When you are hurt by your partner, you stay curious about why they hurt you. So when your partner hurts you, don't assume, oh, they hurt me because of this, or they're acting that way because of that. No, first get curious and try to, why did they say that to me and they knew it was going to hurt me? Why did they do that knowing that it was going to hurt me? And then, so this is a good example, because from there, that automatically is going to bring up another question, or it should. Did they know this was going to hurt me? Did they do this intentionally? If you stay curious, it'll help you not be defensive. But let's just talk about being curious when your partner comes to you with a problem. You stay curious about what their issue is, and don't be so concerned about their opinion of you and you getting out of trouble and you changing their perspective. No. Stay curious about what they're saying, because when you stay curious, you're going to keep yourself from getting upset, right? So let's say if my wife says, I don't like it when you come to bed late because it makes me feel like you don't love me. What we would normally do is we'll lock on to you don't love me, and we'll go right there and start defending. So if I'm being defensive, if I'm being immature, if I'm responding immaturely, I may say something like, how in the world does me coming to bed late make you feel like I don't love you? Like all the stuff that I do for you and me not coming to bed, that don't even make sense. Well, you've just offended them, and you've just taken the conversation somewhere else that it didn't have to go. She already has an issue. All you got to do is address it, right? But when you're immature and you add in your input and you're defensive, you're going to take the relationship somewhere else. Here's another response, another immature response. That behavior, you say, you get the message that I don't love you. So then here's the immature response. That don't mean I don't love you. So now what I'm doing, I'm listening to your dictionary, but I'm responding to you based on my dictionary. I cannot tell you what me coming to bed means to you. All I can do is try to understand it. I don't have to agree with it. I just want to understand it. So here's the mature way to respond to, if my wife was to say, when you come to bed late, I don't like it when you come to bed late. And when you come to bed late, it makes me feel like you don't love me. Here's how curiosity would respond to that. So wait, are you saying that if I come to bed early, you would feel loved? And when I come to bed late, you don't feel loved? And she says, yes. So now I understand what you said, but I'm still curious. So I want to understand why that is. Okay, I understand, but help me understand what's the reason that love for you is tied to what time I come to bed. Because there could be something deeper going on that you don't understand. She could be mistaken. She could be misspeaking about what's going on inside of her. You don't know. But when you start asking questions, then you can understand her issue from her perspective. Now you can address it better. Does that make sense? So now the best way that I've found or that I've learned to stay curious and to seek understanding is this skill called Are You Saying? You just use these three little words. Are you saying? I got that from Dr. Rick Marks. It's one of the most simple but profound skills that I learned from Dr. Marks, because understanding your partner is so crucial, right? So even in the example that I gave you, I started off with, are you saying, right? Are you saying that if I come to bed early, you feel love, but when I come to bed late, you don't? And then she would say, yes. So when she says yes, I know now we understand the same thing. You understand, or she understands that I understand what she said. But that doesn't mean I fully understand her reasoning. So now I may say, now help me understand why for you, love and me coming to bed on time or early, why they're connected. So then let's say my wife says something like, well, when I was a kid, blah, blah, blah. And let's say she ties it to something. I don't know. She ties it to something beyond us now. You come back with, are you saying, oh, okay. So are you saying that when I do this, it reminds you of this behavior? She says, yes. Then you say, okay, I understand now. Now, don't say you understand if you don't understand, but hopefully you will understand. And when you understand, you still may not agree, right? The goal is not agreement. The goal is understanding. So when you understand their perspective, you can say, okay, I understand why you think what you think. I don't agree with the way that you process and the way that you got to your conclusion, but I understand how you got there. If I thought what you thought, I would probably end up at the exact same conclusion. So I understand. You feel me? That is how you stay curious. Number 3, here's the third tip. Don't be defensive. Okay? Defensiveness will destroy your relationship. Defensiveness is one of the 4 horsemen, according to John Gottman. Right? He has these 4 horsemen that he says, when you see these 4, divorce or relationship breakup is inevitable unless you do something drastic to change it. Right? So defensiveness is one of the 4 horsemen. Defensiveness is a way for you to not take responsibility. I don't know if you knew that. And that may not be your intent when you're defending yourself. But when you're trying to understand, when you're trying to handle misunderstandings, you don't have to be defensive. Here's why. Number 1, you don't know what they're really saying. You know how you understand it based on your dictionary, but you need to clarify with them what they mean. And then once you do that, you still don't have to get upset, because that is their thoughts. Those are their emotions. They're not yours. And so the best you can do is help them with their emotions. Try to understand why they feel that way, why they think what they think. And then you address what you need to address, maybe offer reassurance, maybe offer explanation, but you don't have to defend yourself. You don't have to go into, well, that's not what I was trying to do, or that's not what I meant, or, well, you did this last time. You are going to mess things up. So when that happens, here's what you do. You end up making the situation worse than what it was. So your partner comes to you with an issue. It's an issue, whether it's big or small. It's just an issue. When you become defensive, or I'm gonna just say defensive, because you also can just respond to them in a way that's ugly. But let's just stick with defensiveness. So when you respond defensively, you potentially take us somewhere else, and now we're fighting about the way we talk to each other, or we're fighting over the facts, right? We're fighting over what we think happened as opposed to the actual issue. We're not even on the issue anymore. So now we have the issue, but now we have these other injuries that was caused by us not being able to talk about the issue. So once we resolve the issue, if we do, we still got these other new injuries that we've created because we didn't know how to talk about it. And that is because, more than likely, I was being defensive. When your partner brings you an issue, you don't have to be defensive. Here's why you don't have to be defensive. Number one, they're a human being. What does that mean? That means that they're imperfect, just like you. It's possible. So, like if my wife says, I don't think that you're a good husband because you don't wash the dishes. If I was to get defensive with that, I would say, you don't wash the dishes either. Or I washed the dishes 3 times this week. That ain't the issue. I'm addressing my intent and my behavior. Don't do that. Instead, focus on what they said. I don't think you're a good husband because you didn't wash the dishes. Okay, so wait a minute. Are you saying that if I don't wash the dishes, your perception is I'm not a good husband? She says yes. Now, pause. Can you do anything about the way her mind works? No. So why are you going to get upset about the way her mind works? You're still trying to understand. I'm not being defensive. I'm asking questions. So then I say, help me understand what makes you think that if I don't wash the dishes, then I'm not a good husband. And then let them explain it. And when they explain it, it could be way off the wall. And when it's way off the wall, that makes my point of why you didn't have to get upset, because they're a human being and they can be making up stuff and you upset because they see you as a bad husband, but you don't even know why. You're not going to be able to do that, by the way, when you need their approval, but that's a different topic. Okay. But I'm just telling you, it's going to be difficult for you to not be defensive when you need them to see you a certain way. Okay. So just that, again, that's a different topic, but don't be defensive, right? You have to get upset because of how your partner feels. Yeah. So that's tip number 3. Don't be defensive. Tip number 4. So here's number 4. And now number 4, this is a way to recognize that you are misunderstanding each other. Okay. When you notice that you guys are talking in circles, right? It's like you keep saying the same things over and over. That is a clue that you're misunderstanding each other. The reason y'all going in circles because you guys are not talking about the same things. You're using words that you both think you understand, but nobody's seeking understanding. And so you're not talking about the same things, right? One of you is talking about the situation. Another was talking about behavior, right? And so the point is, when you notice yourself going in circles, pause, stop, take a break, because it is an indication that you are misunderstanding each other. And if you keep going, all you both going to do is frustrate yourself. You're going to get frustrated, right? And then that's going to elevate things to a whole nother level. You don't want to do that. And then the 5th tip, and then the 5th one, I kind of mentioned a little bit of it in step number, I think 3, when I talk about being defensive. The 5th one is this: remember that you both are human beings. And when I say that, what I mean is this: your partner could be misstating what they feel and think. Maybe they are not good at saying what's going on inside of them, right? I was talking to a client earlier, and she was saying how, so she was saying one thing, but what she was saying did not match up with how she said she was feeling. But the more we talk, what I began to realize is she was not fully explaining what her deeper issue is. But here's the thing. She didn't know what her deeper issue is. She didn't even know there was a deeper issue. We're human beings. Sometimes we have things going on inside of us that cause us to feel a certain way, but we may not know why we feel that. Like, we may not understand that it's a deeper trigger or something that goes beyond my partner or beyond this situation, right? For that reason, you want to stay curious, not get defensive, because they're a human being and ain't no telling why they think that about you. If you stay in the moment and not get upset, then you can help them see that you're not the person that they think you are. But if you're in a place where you need them to see you differently, then you're not going to handle that well. What you're going to do is you're going to be upset, you're going to be frustrated, and you're going to negate the fact that both of us are humans. And like, I could be misunderstanding. I could be not hearing what you're saying. Why? Because I'm a human being. I can be not hearing what you're saying while at the exact same time being 100% sure that I do understand. Because pride is real. Pride makes you think that you're right. But if you keep in mind, hey, we're both human beings, it's a possibility that I'm wrong. It's a possibility they're communicating it wrong. Let me stay open to understanding and not defending my position. Not just, I didn't mean to do that. I want you to get to a place where it is just your habit to seek understanding before anything goes awry. You have to seek understanding because you guys don't live in the same world. You never will. No two humans live in the same world. Your world only exists in your mind. So, because your partner doesn't live in your mind and you don't live in theirs, you got to communicate in a way where you guys seek understanding so that you can minimize the misunderstandings and minimize the distance between you. Because here's what I've learned. When there's distance, when there's disconnection, there's one or two things going on. There's an unresolved issue or misunderstanding. Okay? Hopefully this was helpful for you. Leave a comment, and tell me how you liked it, or if you feel like there's something that I need to explain for you better. Until next time, you guys take care. Something was I feel like it was in my mouth.